Alright everyone, it's that time of the week again. It's time for some J1 League action with Nagasaki as part of course, Zero to Hero on Pro Evolution Soccer 2019. And straight out the blocks, our first home game of the season. And Mr. Big Number 9, as I like to call him, Juanma Delgado, rising up in front of the opposition defender to head home early on against Gamba Osaka. We then, a couple of minutes later, had another chance, and really the opposition were lucky to survive. But even though the game up until this point was in reality all us, the Brazilian in Adamilson beat our centre-back at the front post and, well, headed into the back of the net. Poor goalkeeping as well. Maybe should have come off his line and done a little bit better, and really gave the opposition the equaliser. And still at this point it was pretty much all us, but despite that, once again some shoddy defending. I'm not quite sure what our centre-back was doing there. We can kind of see it in the replay here where it looked like he had everything under control, completely missed kind of the flight of the ball on the ground, which basically left the opposition striker in a 1 versus 1 situation. And well, we found ourselves 2-1 down at home, and as always, when we need some support off the bench, that's when the gaffer tells me to get warming up. Now, what we were trying to do at the start after coming on was to try and make runs late at the back post to try and get an easy tap in and just try and flood the box really. But unfortunately, most of the crosses that were coming in from the opposite side were quite poor. And again, we're seeing glimpses of the defensive work that I kind of have to do in this kind of system, which isn't really ideal. But the truth was, there's no point trying to chase an equaliser if we were going to end up going 3-1 down. So once again, 1-2 situations down this right-hand side. I took the gamble on the fact that my initial pass to my teammate would basically result in a loose ball from the tackle, and I managed to get my second assist off the bench of the season. You see there, I take the gamble, I whip the ball into the danger area. Unfortunately, Delgado, I think it was, or Murillo, I can't quite remember, was in the right place at the right time. And there we go, another glimpse of some of the defending that I was doing. Once again, trying to create this 2 versus 1 situation down the right wing. Some nice trickery of the feet from me to take it past the defender. And then in the end, we win a corner. And with about a minute to go, I pretty much just kind of, wanted to get back, defend for our lives, and make sure we got at least a point from the match, which was what we got in the end. 2-2 the final score. Great to come off the bench and get an assist. And because of that, we ended up with a rating of 8.5. Up next for us in the J1 League was yet another match away from home, up against the Kashiwa Reysol. And just like against Gamba Osaka in the last match, we came straight out of the dressing room wanting to score a goal, and Suzuki Nitro Boost on did exactly that. Only 2 minutes on the clock, smashed it into the top corner, beat the offside trap. But the problem was that the exact same thing that happened in the last match happened here as well. Only 2 or 3 minutes after we'd gotten the opener, we conceded again, thanks to a nice burst of pace from Jay Ito over the top of our slow back three. And this is the problem really with the system that we play, playing with a relatively high centre back. And to be honest, we were fortunate not to be 2-1 down in quick succession after Cristiano, yep, you heard that right, they've got a striker called Cristiano, hit the bar. We then came attacking again. Kono with the volley made it 2-1, but again, just as we saw from the first goal, it's all good taking the lead, but you've got to, you've got to have character. You've got to be resilient. You've got to be able to hold on to that lead. And 14 minutes later, through ball through our back three, no fullback to, catch Ito, the opposition winger. And once again, the Japanese winger places the ball home, 2-2 the score, and it just felt like one of those games where it was going to be completely back to front. 2 minutes later, after they scored, we then scored Murillo's first of the afternoon, and I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing off the bench, to be honest. A part of me was a little bit disappointed because there were so many goals left, right and centre going in that I felt like I wanted to be involved. But yeah, there you go. Cristiano, 2 minutes later, then made it 3-3. And believe it or not, look, we went in, we had our halftime team talk, and you'd think one of the first things our manager would say is try and tighten up at the back, but we went 4-3 down. Cristiano placing the ball with his left foot into that bottom left-hand corner of our goalkeeper. And, you know, the chances kept on coming. Our good form going forwards started disappearing in this second half. Legs were tiring, and come the 66th minute, none other than Osaka then gave Kashiwa Reysol a 2-goal gap. And that was really when problems started to... I mean, to be honest, problems should have started to appear from us when we were scoring and then conceding 2 minutes later. But this was when I was subbed on to try and save the day. And from my perspective, you know, I knew that there wasn't much pressure on my shoulders. We were brought on at right midfield again. And for me, if I'd been able to contribute to just a single goal to almost kind of bring the game back to 5-4 and give us a glimmer of hope, I would have been relatively happy with that. But we've discussed this before. The defensive duties within this system made it very, very difficult for me. They had a very pacey winger. You can tell he's going to be a good winger because he's wearing a short-sleeved shirt and gloves on. I've never understood the logic behind wearing a short-sleeved shirt and gloves, but you could just tell by the way that his pace and by the way he was dribbling right and left that it was going to be a tough second half for me. We came on, tried to whip the ball towards the back post, but our striker didn't even seem interested in really trying to attack it. And I don't think you'll be surprised to really find out that, unfortunately, with the score at 5-3, even though I felt like with my inclusion in the team, we started creating more chances, and realistically, this chance in particular, with a couple of minutes to go, probably should have gone in at 5-4. It was Cristiano, I believe, who took the Man of the Match award, and we got given a rating of 6. The third and final J1 League match for this episode was against Cerezo Osaka, yet again away from home. The fixture list has not been kind for us, particularly considering we're relegation candidates. And for the first 20 minutes or so, the opposition definitely showed us why we are relegation candidates. They were a class above us. I don't think we had one chance, you know, going forwards, and Kakitani then rubbed salt in the wounds with his stupid celebration. And yep, that's right, ladies and gents, we conceded from a cross situation yet again. But fortunately for us, that magician yet again, Suzuki, found an equaliser. All it took was one attack for us, quality over quantity, and we managed to go in at the break at 1-1. But unfortunately, they were still piling on the pressure, and that was when the gaffer decided, right, time to bring some fresh legs on. And I'm not even joking, guys, I hadn't been on the pitch for more than 10 seconds, and Akiyama, the midget, with all due respect to him, somehow outleaped some of our players in the box and managed to score that header. So I came on off the bench thinking to myself, come on, you know, maybe I can play a part in finding the winner. And then 10 seconds on, found myself 2-1 down. And that completely changed my mentality and, you know, my complexion coming off the bench on the game. But anyways, we continued doing, you know, what we usually do, playing right midfield. I tried to cut inside a couple of times more than usual because we were getting a little bit longer on the pitch than we have done in the past. But you know, more often than not, trying to get the ball into the area. I know we've got some big strikers in the form of Suzuki and Delgado and Morello, but unfortunately they just weren't able to finish. With just under 20 minutes left on the clock, we got the equaliser through a lovely Beckham-esque free kick. And from this point, you kind of think, hey, you know, look, it's been a difficult game. We've been kind of under the cosh for the majority of the match. Now that it's 2-2, let's try and hold on for a draw. But with just 8 minutes to go, our goalkeeper, quite frankly, complete shambles. I mean, forgets how to do his job. And you'll see what I mean now when we look at this goal in detail. So I'm not sure where the defenders were, but the ball kind of hits the crossbar and then hits the goalkeeper's head and crosses the line and goes in. And from this point, with 4 minutes to go, we've just got to try and keep pushing forwards, try and hope we can create something and get an equaliser. But unfortunately for us, as you can probably guess, it just wasn't quite meant to be. I'm not quite sure why our teammate didn't shoot at goal from there. I get tackled, And the full-time whistle goes 3-2, the final score to Cerezo Osaka. But in reality, we didn't really deserve anything from the game. And our average rating remains at 6.6.